forget, you can hear the full-length, longer version wherever you get your podcasts. Welcome. How lovely to have you here. And it's exciting because it's a second timer. He's already been on when he was on before. I think it was around that time of that horrible bug that was going around. So we were at a distance. But now, and he doesn't need an introduction, for heaven's sake, it's Matt Lucas.
Well, hello. Do I talk to this camera like you talk to that camera, or is that presumptuous of me because I'm not the host?
I think, yeah, stay in your lane.
Stay in my lane.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I was only looking at that camera. I look at it for the introduction and maybe for some little
Asides.
wry glances, a bit like Bruce Fuller. I do double act with David Wallace, that sort of thing.
Michael Barrymore used to do that a lot on Strike It Lucky and Strike It Rich. Didn't
What's
he?
a hot spot, not?
Yeah, a good spot.
A good spot, yeah. All
Yeah.
right. Top, middle, bottom.
I'm a big Barrymore fan, mate.
He was at his best. I mean,
He was at his best. He was unrivaled. Wasn't
yeah, those bits at the beginning of Strike It Lucky when he would talk for however long to the contestants, seemingly building stuff from absolutely nothing.
I was on his show.
Which one?
Barrymore.
Yeah.
I played my first, but when I started out as a stand-up, when I was 18, I did it in character as this character, Sir Bernard Chumley,
course, yes.
who ended up on first series of Little Britain. And in, I think it was 95 or 96, 1996, as a very young man, I was a guest on Barrymore and had loads of fun.
I've seen
And-
this clip. He interviews you
Yeah.
as Sir Bernard.
Yeah, he interviews me as Sir Bernard. And then they said to me, what song would you like to sing? Do you want to do? No, I said, can we do a duet? And for some reason, I really have no idea why, I chose the Lee Dorsey hit, Working in a Coal Mine. Do you know that song?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I just thought, well, here's two men who clearly haven't been working in a coal mine. And I just thought, working in the coal mine, going down, 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 working in the coal mine, woo, about to slip down. And it just felt fun. So we did that. I had a whale of a time. And he was the master of the comic aside, I think.
Yeah.
And Bruce Forsyth was great at comic
Yes,
asides.
yes.
And who does the comic aside now? Who's good at that now? Don't sort of get them as much, do you?
No.
Who gives the little look to the camera now?
It kind of seems a bit old school, perhaps now.
Yes.
I don't know. But Matt, hey, now it's so different, isn't it?
What is comedy?
The world.
The world.
The whole world, Matt, and comedy is within that.
Well, there's far fewer shows certainly on terrestrial TV and streaming that have a live studio audience now. Those are the people that give you permission to do the aside, aren't they?
Yeah. No, but I've just given a little one there. Well,
Good.
Barry Humphries would do it as
I'll give you
Edna,
one
of
as
course.
well.
Barry would work Edna would look at can do that, because I know you, just like me, were a huge fan of Barry's.
Dame Edna was a massive influence on me and David Walliams, absolutely. I often watch clips of. There's a few people that I go back to and watch often on YouTube late at night. Yeah, and Sacha Baron Cohen is one of them.
Oh, thank you.
And Peter Kay.
Thank you.
And Gavin and Stacey, because I love James Corden, Matthew Horn, Joanna Page.
You were in Gavin and Stacey.
Ruth. I did do one episode. Yeah.
You were the guy at the wedding fair.
That's right,
Jammy, who is selling stag weekends.
That's right, and James and I just laughed all morning. We were there I have a feeling we were in Cardiff doing our stage tour, our Little Britain tour.
Yeah.
But I do watch a lot of Barry Humphries, Dame Edna.
There's so much out there.
When
you go onto YouTube, you can just keep on going and keep on going. Because, of course, it's a lifetime, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's extraordinary to think of one man playing the same character for over 60 years. I mean, Steve Coogan has played Partridge for over 30 years now.
When will he stop? I mean, we've had enough. Don't you think, though?
No, I actually think it started off brilliant and has got even better. I mean, that series he did on BBC One a couple of years ago, was it called This Time with Alan Partridge?
That was one of the worst, wasn't it?
I'm not going there. I loved it.
When is he going to stop
Well, probably not. I'm going to see him in Doctor Strangelove soon.
Oh, God, he's doing theatre, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's going to be in that, right, in the West End, and I'm doing a Christmas show.
Are you?
Yeah, a one night thing
Yeah.
at the Lyceum on the 16th of December. So I forgot he was going to be in the theatre. So I called him and I said, oh, I had an idea of something we could do. And he came back to say, oh, well, I'm going to be doing Doctor Strangelove. I said, okay, but if it closes early,
I think I should think it sold
are
very
you
well.
free on the 16th of December?
I might
Matt?
be. I'll have to
You
check
and I love a song.
Oh yeah, we do like to sing,
A
don't we?
Christmas song, maybe.
Oh, that'd be nice.
Together. When you came on to Shooting Stars, I think I've told you this. I was almost slightly scared of you.
Yeah, I
because-
think people did say I was scary. People still do say they can sometimes find me scary on screen, you know.
That's nice. Have you ever done a villainous? Have you ever played a
Yeah,
villainous
I've done a
role?
few. I did there's a film uh called Polar with
Right.
Mads Mikkelsen where I
Yeah.
play the villain.
Oh,
And on Netflix. And then in Wonka I was one of the villains.
oh yeah.
And
Yes, of course.
yeah, and there's a slight
That was you and Matt Bainton
and
and
Patterson Joseph.
right.
Yeah,
Yes,
it's the
yes,
three
yes, yes,
rival
yes.
chocolatiers. And then I was a villain in a series called Crob Mandoon and the Flaming Sword of
Yeah,
Fire.
with my friend Steve Spears.
Yes, with Steve Spears. And yeah, and I'm in Gladiator 2, and there's a little bit of villainy in what I'm doing
Okay,
in
hang
that
on,
as well.
slow down. I'm in Gladiator 2. We're not going to let that slide.
Oh well, I'm
by.
not allowed to talk too much about it, but it's only a small part. But he's not a nice man. I play.
Gladiator 2.
Oh, it's weird, isn't it?
How exciting is that?
I know, it's nuts.
Where did you shoot it?
Malta, really hot. You'll know this from being an actor, which is whenever you act in something, you're either boiling or freezing. If you're filming, you're either in like the summer
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
Louisiana in 40-degree
Yeah.
heat.
It's
and
rarely
humidity,
just right, is it?
in
you know?
tweeds
Yeah.
and padding and prosthetics.
And what is worse, would you say?
what the freezing cold or
Or
the
yeah. I would say the freezing cold.
yeah, I think the freezing cold is worse. Yeah. Although Gladiator, I was so hot when we were filming Gladiator 2. I would be in this little sort of tent waiting to film, and I'd be there for sort of hours, sometimes a day, and not being, because
Yeah.
the scale of it is huge, and you know, so they need you there whether they use you or not, which is fine. There was another sort of porter cabin, Portaloo, and it was sort of maybe 90 seconds walk away, but that was 90 seconds walking through unbelievable heat. And I was just like, I'll hold it in.
We just sweated out, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I was
sit
just
there and
like, I
perspire.
really need the loo. But the idea of leaving this
Yeah.
little tent, which had a bit of a fan,
Yeah.
and walking that 90 seconds, was like, you're right.
And you're in costume.
You're in costume.
And like you
the
said,
robes
some
and-
days on
yeah.
big productions like that, you don't get used.
The first sort of big film I did was Alice in Wonderland
Mm.
in the Tim Burton one for Disney, and I remember. I feel like the first couple of weeks on that, I would be in. Actually, didn't have a big costume because I was wearing one of those green lycra bodysuits because it was.
Oh yeah.
They were using my face, but and recording my body. I had all the little dots that you have, but I didn't have to wear costume for that. So, but I still had makeup and everything, and I felt like every day I'd sort of be ready to go in makeup and the bodysuit and ready to go by sort of 7:45 in the morning.
Yeah.
And then somebody would sort of come in and go, "Would you like breakfast?" "Yes, sure." And then they'd give you the 5-minute warning. And I'd sort of 3 or 4 times during the day, somebody would give me a 5-minute warning, but I would never actually get called onto set. And then at sort of 7:30 in the evening, oh, you were released for the day. And then I feel like that happened for about 2 weeks.
Wow.
But I was very comfortable. I was in a lovely trailer, and whatever I wanted to eat, and I had a fridge and a freezer with ice cream and everything.
That's a
It was
lovely
great.
official line you're taking there,
Yeah.
Matt. I'm happy to say, bloody frustrating. And
Well, I tell you, the frustrating element of it is that you you are ready to go. And so there is an energy that
That's
you
right.
have,
Yeah.
a kind of nervous energy that you're like, is today the day, and you're ready to go. And I always go back to football, but I'm sure it's like being on the bench
Yeah.
and not knowing there's such a difference between being on the bench and playing, and being on the bench and not playing, being on the bench and coming on because somebody got injured after 5 minutes, or coming on for the last 2 minutes. I mean, it's what you do psychologically to sort of keep your energy levels up, keep your focus up, and it can be difficult. And of course, in those films, um, nobody dare be responsible for you not being there and not being ready. So
Yeah.
you have to be there and ready. I have become, because I'm not trying to segue, but because this has music, I've sort of
Yeah.
started composing
Yes, I know
in
you have.
earnest.
Yeah.
And I've been recently really proud to be inducted into the SODS, which is the Society of Distinguished
How
Songwriters.
fantastic.
And we meet a couple of times a year. And I am beside myself. I'm thrilled because I go to the dinners and I meet people uh, like Roger Greenaway,
Yeah.
who
Yeah.
co-wrote, You've Got Your Troubles, I've Got Mine,
Yeah.
and I'd Like to Teach the World to Sing,
Yeah.
and Freedom Come, Freedom Go, and Something's Got a Hold of My Heart, and those kind of Something Tells Me Something's Going to Happen Tonight. Mike Batt is there,
Yeah.
who wrote, Bright Eyes, all the Wombles songs, The Closest Thing to Crazy, and Dave Peacock from Chaz and Dave is a
Yeah.
new member, and just Mitch Murray set it up. And of course,
Yeah.
Mitch Murray's daughter is the narrator in this musical novel. But Mitch Murray wrote all those great Freddie and the Dreamers songs. And you look around the table, and we have guests there. I went to a benefit in 2009. I remember it because it wasn't long after my um, uh, former husband had passed away. I went to a benefit in New York for a school,
Mm.
and the benefit was all these singer-songwriters, all these composers, and the man who wrote the Happy Days theme was there, and he sang Happy Days, and Paul Williams was there, and I met him, and Alan Menken was there.
Oh,
So, of course, Alan Menken wrote Little Shop of Horrors,
yeah.
but he wrote Aladdin
Yeah.
and all, The Little Mermaid, and I think Beauty and the Beast, and all these incredible musicals, Newsies.
Wow. God, there's some songs in those,
Yeah.
in those musicals that you mentioned. Think about some of those songs.
Yeah.
How strong, how distinct they are as well.
Well, I have met some of my heroes. I've worked with
Thank
Stephen.
you.
Thank you, Stephen Schwartz recently.
Now, tell me
Stephen
about
Schwartz
him.
wrote Wicked,
Oh, right.
the songs in Wicked, and wrote Pippin and Godspell
Yeah.
and The Baker's Wife
Yeah.
and Prince of Egypt. And I've met, obviously, Andrew Lloyd Webber. You probably
Yeah.
come across him on your travels, and Tim Rice, Stephen Sondheim. But
You met Stephen Sondheim?
I did a couple of times.
Oh, come on.
You know what? I met him a couple of times, and I was introduced.
Sorry to Tim Rice, by the way, if Tim is listening to this.
Tim is
because
a sod.
I know Tim, and
Yeah.
that's fine. But Tim is still with us. With still chance to enjoy Tim.
Yeah.
Tell me about Stephen Sondheim.
Well, I did meet him a couple of times, and I met him at again at a charity evening, a show of his music, and Cameron McIntosh, who produced the most successful theatre producer in history, I think, who produced Les Miserables, which is how I knew him.
Yes.
So I've been in that. He introduced me in the interval. He said, "Come meet Stephen," and I met him, and I, spoke to him for a couple of minutes, and just sort of, gabbled out some rubbish, and was quite nervous, but very, deferential. And as I walked away, I just overheard him say, "Wow, I just met the only gay in the village."
Get out
Yeah.
of town.
I know.
So as you go away, he says, "Wow, I've just met the only gay." in the
Yeah,
village."
that's what I heard him say.
That's
yeah.
a colossal
I know. That's
happening.
I
That
know.
really is.
Yeah.
Wow.
But he was very engaged. I mean, Jeremy Sams, who directed the Little Britain stage
Live,
show,
yes.
it was sort of Sondheim's closest friend, and Jeremy called his son Toby after the character in Sweeney Todd, and he was always saying, "Oh, I'll put you in touch with Stephen. You must go for lunch. You must go round to his house." But I was just
Yeah.
too nervous to do it.
Yeah.
But one of my friends, Fra Fee,
Mm.
the actor, he got to know Stephen and used to go to his house. I just didn't feel I was genuinely didn't feel I was worthy of it. I thought it's the same when I know Stephen Schwartz a bit, and whenever I talk to him, I mean, I know Claude Michel Schoenberg, the
Right.
composer of Les Miserables,
Yeah.
and I've been to his house and stuff like that. But I'm always there's a part of me that just goes, "How is this happening?" And now, we were talking about who we watch late night on YouTube.
Yeah.
Rod Hull. I often watch Rod Hull and Emu.
Do you?
Absolutely magnificent. I'm serious about this. We were talking about people not really getting the recognition they deserve, like Michael
Yes.
Barrymore not getting the
Yes.
recognition they
Yeah.
deserve. I've been watching some Hale and Pace stuff recently.
Yeah.
Genuinely
I
underrated.
did their warm-up once.
Did you?
For their TV show.
Genuinely underrated. They did
Right.
some really funny stuff. But Rod Hull and Emu is the most brilliant anarchy. The most brilliant anarchy. But I'm wondering with AI now, I'd like to see somebody remove the emu.
Yeah.
So it's just Rod Hull's arm and then still just have the exact same sketches. I'd just be curious to see him just groping people and strangling them.
You could do that, couldn't you?
I bet you does AI technology, if you're watching this and you're an AI nerd.
Oh, of course it does.
Yeah. I would really be curious to see the emu sketches without emu in them.
Have you seen those things that they, when people say they, have you seen what they've done now? Or they won't let you? Who is they? You see what they've done now and you see this, it's somewhere on the Twitter X thing, and it's famous actors or singers, whatever, cuddling their younger self. Have you seen that?
I've had people send me photos of me cuddling my younger self.
Have
weird
you?
Things, yeah.
But this is moving now. This is
I've seen, like,
they go into
images.
each other. No, they cuddle each other. So you get, I don't know, an old George Clooney.
Yes, I just saw that. I think I saw that this morning.
And look, I find it quite moving. I find it quite touching.
Do you find it erotic?
No.
Oh.
Where would that come from?
Well, there's something for everyone.
A picture of a modern day, or it can be Angelina Jolie, or these are the people. There's one of Brad Pitt.
You find there are men who are attracted to bathtubs. I mean, there's everyone's got something.
Yeah, but this is me you're talking to.
Yeah,
this is just
meat and two veg over here.
Sylvester Stallone cuddling the younger one.
Well, you might be.
And you kind of go, oh, that's. But wait, I was going to say,
AI. We're talking about AI.
AI.
You're at that age now, aren't you?
Oh, tell me about it.
Yeah.
Tell me about it. So Richard Osman and
Paul Putner,
wonderful Paul Putner, who went on then to appear in loads of Little Britain with you. Fantastic
and everything,
performer.
Come Fly With Me, Rock Profile.
Everything you've done. He's one of your guys,
done,
right? Yeah. He is the Victor Spinetti to your Richard Burton. They gave you
Victor Spinetti to my Lionel Blair, actually.
I
saw them both in a panto. Victor Spinetti,
yeah.
Lionel Blair. I saw Dick Whittington
yeah.
in Christmas 1980 when I was 6 years old. Now, try and remember who was in it. It's the most amazing cast. Dick Whittington, so it was Jim Davidson, Lionel Blair, Victor Spinetti. It was like, I think Clive Dunn was in it.
Yes.
I think Melvin Hayes and Windsor Davies were in it.
Oh.
I think Molly Sugden was in it. It was the most.
Wow.
Yeah, it was an amazing.
Where was that? The Palladium?
Palladium, yeah.
Wow, and Victor was in it.
Yeah.
Did you ever meet Victor?
I did. I met him a couple of times.
I used to know him, and we would go and have lunch. And
nice man.
His stories.
Yeah, amazing.
His stories.
Real raconteur.
And do you know what? You're aware.
You're like the new Victor Spinetti, because you're the sort of the nearly man who's worked with everyone. And has got the stories.
I got my stories about Matt Lucas and David. No, I tell you what I will say is, when you do interviews and you're used to telling people.
I'm joking that about Victor and you, of course.
But you used to telling people who your influences are. I also Barry Humphries, I like Peter Sellers, Ronnie Corbett, all these things, right? But you sometimes forget. And when I was on tour with my band, I would play them one night because I kept telling them about Vic, and I played them the live recording of his very private diary, right?
He's brilliant. He was brilliant.
And we're listening to him telling stories, and we all sat there and went, because I have either copied or whatever so many of his rhythms, but I was unaware of it until I went, oh my God, that's how I would phrase a story. That's how I would pace it.
Well, he was that great, there was Ustinov.
Yeah.
And Spinetti were like the two great raconteurs of their time, weren't they?
Well,
Kenneth Williams was a great raconteur.
But I did a radio play with Victor once so many years ago on Radio Wales, and I can vividly remember on the lunch break, about 10 people round a table in a canteen, and we were convulsed,
Yeah, yeah.
crying with laughter. It was a story about a gay mafia funeral in Florida, and a train was involved. I don't remember any more than that. He was a glorious thing. I may have said this before. I said to him once, we would have lunch once a year, twice a year. And I said, you've worked with people that we would think of as greats, Peter Sellers, John Lennon,
Yeah.
Laurence Olivier, Richard Burton, with no question. What did they have in common? And he said, they all lived in the moment.
Ah.
He said they didn't think about what had gone by, worry about what had gone by or what was coming. They just lived in the moment.
Sacha Baron Cohen's like that in terms of work. I've written for him a fair bit, and watching
when
him.
have you written? I didn't know you'd written for
Yeah,
him.
I did, like, years ago. I was one of the writers. I did some days on, like, the Ali G show.
Mhm.
But then I've done bits on that series that they did on Showtime that was shown on Channel 4 about 5 years ago. I think it was called This Is America.
Oh, right, yeah.
I worked on that. And I've done little bits on Bruno, the Dictator, and Grimsby. Just
I
little
didn't
bits.
know
Little
that.
bits.
Yeah,
Little bits.
Yeah. What, polishes or
Like when they're doing reshoots, I
Yeah.
sort of join the gang and then
Right.
But just watching him work, watching him come alive, and he's fearless. And it's that fearlessness.
So
It's
how would
amazing.
that manifest itself?
When you're just coming up with an idea and going, well, no, that you can't do that. He can, he will, and then he'll go one step further. There's a few people like that. I think Mark Wootton's quite fearless as well. Once he's doing it,
But fearless is what I would say about Sacha Baron Cohen. I don't know him particularly, but I remember when he went to America, I remember thinking, wow, this guy's got he would go on Letterman in character, and that's not that's quite an undertaking.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Because you're committed. You're committed.
Yeah.
And there's no getting out of that once you've gone down that road. Yeah, fearless. That would be a word I would ascribe to him, actually. What I do want to talk about, and I've been trying to get it in all the way through this interview, is now in paperback. Matt Lucas, the boy who slept through Christmas. Music. I'll be like Jiminy Glick. A musical novel.
Oh, I love Jiminy Glick.
What is a musical novel? Matt Lucas.
I've seen Jiminy Glick live.
Did you see that? What did you see? The one he did with Steve Martin? Or
no,
did you see...
I went to see Martin Short do his Broadway show about
Get Lost.
20 years ago
I would
or something.
love to have seen that.
It was great, yeah. What a talented man.
I think he's out of the park.
So,
anyway, I'm trying to get to talk about your book.
Yeah, so this book came out in hardback last year,
Yeah.
and the paperback is out this year, The Boy Who Slept Through Christmas. So this is a children's novel, but adults can enjoy it as well.
Yeah.
And it's about a boy who loves Christmas, and his mother has died a few months earlier. So he's got to figure out a way to, how can I enjoy Christmas without mum? And he has a bit
Just
of a...
forget about her.
You could.
Yeah.
One way of doing it.
Put her out your mind.
He has a bit of a meltdown on Christmas Eve and wishes Christmas away. And for reasons I won't go into, because I don't want to ruin it, he wakes up and it's Boxing Day.
Oh.
And he's got to go and get Christmas back. So it's very nice. But as I was writing the book, I was thinking, I'd love this to be a stage musical one day. And I started writing songs, which is partly me being creative and also partly the kind of the procrastinating that happens, which is, I'm going to stop actually writing the books. I've got to write a song now. So really just kind of, because I was supposed to be getting on with the book, but no, I should write a song. So I wrote and recorded 20 songs. And when you read the novel, as you go along, you see these QR codes. Just my luck, I can't find one. You see QR codes all the way through the book somewhere. There's one, isn't it? There's one. That's The Meltdown. And you get your phone, your
what
tablet.
happens then? You see the QR code.
You see the QR
what
code.
What do you do?
There you go. And you get your phone or your tablet.
Your handheld device.
Your handheld device. Yeah. And you click on it, and it takes you to a lyric video. Right? Or if you're reading an ebook and you're online, just click on the link and it will take you to the song.
Yeah.
Now, to coincide with the release of the paperback, I've actually released the music as an album, or I will be in October, releasing all the music as an album on Spotify and Apple and Deezer and all those platforms.
CompuServe.
Yeah, CompuServe. And so people can hear the songs. And then at the back of the novel are all the lyrics to the songs. And I just sort of locked myself away for 6 weeks and wrote the songs, words and music. And because I'd written little short songs on Shooting Stars years ago.
Yeah.
But this was, the opening number in this is 15 minutes long.
Is it?
Yeah. My mum said it's a bit long, isn't it? Look. Christmas is coming. I mean, inevitably. And it's a lovely present. Look, it's shiny. It's lovely.
It's a nice size for wrapping, I'll say that.
It's a good size for wrapping. It says $7.99 on the back. I'm sure you can find it for cheaper. So it's like, if it's Christmas Day and you're going to someone's house and there's going to be you don't really know the kids, what I'm saying, it's a good present for people you don't know and don't like, because it's not overly expensive. It's very reasonable.
Yeah.
And, it's a good, it did well. And was nominated.
It was
for
in the
award.
Sunday Times bestseller
Was
list.
it?
Yes. Well, according to the blurb you sent me.
I didn't even know. Yes, it was the best-selling children's novel of the year by a debut novelist, and it was nominated for a British Book Award as well.
Well, all right.
Which I lost to Catherine Rundell, which is absolutely fine because she's very good. But it's a lovely book, and I'm slowly working on developing the stage version.
Yeah,
as
I
well.
bet you are.
Yeah, and people are starting as well to perform some of the songs.
Oh,
and
that's nice.
Do you know Stagecoach, which is this?
I'm aware of it. Yes.
All the children's drama groups.
Yes.
They're going to be performing a sort of really, really mini version of the show, I think,
What
this
a great
Christmas.
way for that to start fermenting and just starting to evolve. That's great. That's great.
Yeah, and getting the songs in there. And there's a song in here called He Watches Over Me, which people are starting to do as an audition number as well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I know.
Wow.
Yeah. And then there's another song called You Might, which kids were singing when turning on the Christmas lights and things like that. Because I know.
I bet you find this as gratifying as anything you've done.
I absolutely loved the process of this.
Yeah.
And I was really, look, I know that I'm lucky that because of my, because I've done comedy on TV and stuff like that, that's going to catch the eye of publishers. I get it. I get that I'm sort of privileged in that regard. The one thing I will say is that, with that privilege, I did just work incredibly hard to do the best job I could. And I'm really, really proud of this. I never look at it and go, oh, I wish I'd done that. It is what I wanted it to be. And I'm currently writing my second novel. And I love doing that. I love working with David. I love working with other people, being in the writers' rooms with people, acting.
But given a choice between working with David or spending the day at home by yourself with a laptop, it's easy to see which is going to come out on top. All right. Well, Matt Lucas, he's got a book. I don't know if he mentioned it. The Boy Who Slept Through Christmas.
Very good.
I always love seeing you. Very fond of you, Matt.
Thank you.
Very fond of you.
I like you.
From a distance, initially, of a bit scary on Shooting Stars.
Yeah.
Wow, who is that guy? And the poster of you and David for that early show in Edinburgh.
Bit much.
I thought, bloody hell, that guy's out on the edge. Ooh. Who'd have thought we'd become chums?
Showbiz chums, it's a different.
Goodbye.